Get started, welcome everyone to our webinar, How to Attract and Retain High-Value Patients in Your Dental Practice. Today's webinar is presented by the Doc Sites, Intivio, along with the Academy of General Dentistry. Without further ado, I'd like to present Nate DeVries. He's a co-founder and chief customer officer at Intivio. They are the patient communication software that offers a personalized communication and helps run your practice more efficiently. So Nate, I'll let you take it away and start sharing.
All right, thank you very much. So let me just get to the right slide here. Yeah, so I think that we're first gonna start with patient expectations and how they're rising. So I think one of the things we know and that we've seen consistently is that patient expectations are rising. Patients now expect their experience with dentistry to rival their best consumer experiences. Think about the last time we attended the spa, the hairdresser, even the Apple store. None are quite equivalent to a medical appointment, but they have set the bar so high than what we're typically providing in dentistry. We need to reach up a little bit higher so that patients can engage with us. Your practice has to evolve to meet those expectations. What we know is that a fairly low percentage of patients are engaged. This was true before COVID, so it's safe to assume this has only gotten worse. Experts say 34% of patients are highly engaged with their dental practice. It's very hard to retain high-value patients if your patient engagement is so low. We need to provide them with a unique service experience that feeds into that engagement. Patient engagement is healthcare's version of customer loyalty. Customer loyalty comes from when patients identify with your practice. You need to ask yourself, who are you as a dentist? How can you share that message with your patients? What finding the right kind of patient communication software can help you do is to communicate your authentic self. You want to communicate an authentic image and brand that shows your patients how much you care about their health and their well-being. So it's really two different things working in concert, attraction and retention. And they really are this infinity loop. Attraction and retention are two sides of the same coin. Retentions come back to the piece about engagement. What we talk about a lot at Intivio is the right message at the right time. Sending messaging in the right medium is one thing, but making sure that message is meaningful, that it is impactful, that it enables patients to arrive prepared is the real key to successful communication. You'll know it's working when you start to see some organic growth. And by that, I mean patients who are bringing in their own patients. They're relating to the message that you're giving to other patients. Super impactful. You know that what you want your patients to buy into is the importance of their oral health. But how do you communicate that? How do you get them to engage and buy in that their oral health is important? You want to show them that it's unique. You want to show them what is unique about your practice and to communicate that in a unique way. What you need is the right tool to help you do that. And this is where patient communication comes in. It facilitates you staying in touch with your patients from the initial reminders through treatment-specific instructions to post-treatment care. You and your patients can customize the way you want to communicate, and you can develop the right messaging to keep your patients inspired about being partners in their oral health. When you customize things to the way that patients want to be engaged with, they actually engage. That means some patients might need a reminder the night before, or some patients might need a reminder in the morning. And making sure that they engage with the way that you communicate actually will result in a better treatment outcome, not just them showing up on time and prepared. So really what I'm going to talk about for a little bit is the patient journey and how you interact with your patient throughout this journey. And so really there's a life cycle of patient engagement. There should always be a next step in the cycle of patient engagement. Some other ways that your practice could be reaching out to your patients. An automated system makes this all super simple because it keeps track of the last time you communicate and helps you customize different messages to different patients when they need them at the time they need them. So what you want to be able to do is communicate specific messaging based on appointment. It makes sense to treat the spec appointment differently than the hygiene appointment, just like you would if you were calling the patient on the phone. Every appointment your practice provides is a unique treatment that requires an appointment to show up prepared. In some cases, an unprepared patient results in a failed appointment, which obviously results in lost revenue. and hard to actually replace that appointment with a new appointment if it happens at the time of them arriving. Every touch point requires care and attention to ensure you're delivering that right experience and the information when a patient needs it. We often see this with pre-op and post-op instructions, that if a patient doesn't receive fasting a reminder the night before, they often come in with a Starbucks coffee. And preventing that patient from coming with a Starbucks coffee is like one of our missions that we always talk about in interview. It's just making sure patients aren't coming with that morning routine they're used to doing and failing an appointment. So let's start with practice notifications. One way to keep yourself top of mind with your patients is through notifications or newsletters. You can send important client updates about your practice, like an office closure, provider sick day, or at a special touch with a holiday newsletter. You can do these just with a simple email browser like Outlook, mass send to all of your patients. Obviously a lot more efficient and easy when you're using an automated system where you can set up in advance and it just goes out on predetermined regimen, but definitely doable without a patient communication system, just a little more groundwork. Intibio software gives you the ability to mass message your patients, even across multiple practices, or to a select group of patients. Maybe patients that you've seen last week or patients you've seen yesterday. Makes it really easy for sick provider messaging. Communicating directly to your patients in this way builds up that one-to-one relationship with them. Being able to send a patient's emails from one email account makes them feel like you're directly reaching out to them, and it makes it feel like you're not receiving a mass email. That's really important when you're engaging with patients. Really the bread and butter of any practice management is going to be communicating with your patients before they actually come up to their appointment, so they actually show up prepared on time and have an understanding of what's actually going to occur at that appointment. Now with COVID, everything's changed. We actually need to make sure we send pre-screening surveys out, making sure that we keep your patients and your practice safe. So a lot of things that come naturally when communicating with patients one-on-one. One of the things that comes naturally with patients when you're communicating one-on-one is that each appointment is unique and that there sometimes are different requirements for different appointments. However, this isn't the case with all automated systems. They don't know the difference between appointments, so they just send a generic message out. So when you're setting up an automated communication, we need to think about what does the patient need to know and when do they need to know it. We need to be intentional with how we craft our message so our messages are not getting lost in all that digital noise. COVID has made this all the more important with various health requirements depending on your region. Screening surveys are so essential to help protect the health of both your staff and your patients. With an automated system, your patients can fill out the forms well before they come in. It makes sense just to treat spec appointments differently than hygiene appointments. Each message has to be tailored to that appointment type, or the messaging will just be all wrong. You want to offer your patients as many invitations as you can to be partners in their treatment. Use each opportunity to message them as a way to inspire them to make informed decisions about their dental care. You're going to want to communicate how important the procedure is and what the patient needs to be prepared. When the patient understands the importance, they come prepared. Strong patient engagement increases confirmations and reduces no-shows. In the age of COVID, the virtual waiting room is an important touch point on that cycle of patient engagement. Without an automated system and two-way texting, I don't really know how you do a virtual waiting room. But a feature that we have in Intibio is a two-way chat system that lets your patients know if you're running late. It really shows that you respect their time. A patient who's waiting in the parking lot really and able to message you back and forth allows you to your office to triage those patients instead of phoning them every time when they need to come in. Without text messaging, managing multiple people in a parking lot becomes very, very difficult. If you want a virtual waiting room, it's important to make sure it's user-friendly for your staff as well as yourself. The two-way chat that we use allows you to use templates of commonly sent messages. So if you're sending the same thing over and over again, you don't have to retype it out. Now, you obviously could still do this on a cell phone, but it's a lot easier when it's built into the system that you're looking at all day. You can communicate next steps once patients enter the virtual waiting room, very easy from your office phone number. So post-appointment follow-up messaging. This has all to do with we've seen the patient, they came prepared, but now they're going to leave your facility, your clinic, and you're going to want to make sure you stay in touch with them. And sometimes not just for post-treatment follow-up, even though that's very important and something that we do facilitate. You're going to want to make sure that you're able to elicit feedback from you. You and your patients can customize the way that you want to communicate. And so before and after, the right messages are being delivered. Post-appointment follow-up messaging is your opportunity to maintain that buy-in that they already had when they booked the initial appointment. Your continue of care of your patients after the appointment is over. Your continued care of the patient after the appointment is over really goes to the heart of your practice authenticity. One of the goals you always want to do is make sure that we make a promise, we deliver on that promise, and we follow up to make sure that we've met all the expectations. And this goes far beyond just the post-op instructions. We can also send a follow-up wellness screening to make sure that both our staff is protected after the fact, because sometimes patients come and they show symptoms afterwards. You just really always want to stay at top of mind and relevant for your patients. So that really ties in directly with patient feedback and online reviews. A key piece of patient retention and attraction are those client reviews. But I'm not just talking about social. I'm talking about actual reviews about performance of the office, cleanliness of the office, friendliness of staff. We do internal reviews and social reviews. Internal reviews are so important for understanding how your patients actually feel about specific points of their interaction with your practice. That's not to say that social reviews aren't important. They're actually dramatically important for gaining new patients. So it's a difference between retention and gaining new patients. And what we want to do is make sure that some patients are receiving internal feedback and some patients are giving us social feedback. And that's really important that we take that positive feedback in the form of review and display that on our website or direct people to our social websites to really build up that influence that we are who we say we are and we deliver what we promise we're going to deliver. With our social review system, for example, you can send out the request for feedback automatically, so you don't have to have that communication every single time in the chair or at the front desk as patients leave. Recalls and appointment requests. Again, attracting and retaining high-value patients is about keeping them engaged. Patient recall is a renewed invitation to your patients. Have you remind them about preventative care. When's the last time they had a cleaning? It's also about giving them an opportunity to proactively reach out to you and book a time. So not only are we going out and reminding patients of that recall that is due, we're giving them an opportunity to say, Tuesdays afternoon work best for me. When can I come in next? And giving patients that ability really ties them to your practice. Patients are already used to this in a lot of different facets in their life, being able to go online and book an appointment. And this is just one step closer to that interaction. You're also able to segment your patients so you can personalize those recalls. So you can develop strategies on how to bring back different patients based on their oral health needs. We're not just talking about hygiene. You can actually build a recall for anything. And we can help you maintain that and communicate with patients when they need to be communicated to make sure they're not missing vital oral health treatments. Since general dentistry is a very broad spectrum of patients, it's even more important to get specific about your messaging. The key thing here is to stay relevant. Make sure you stay in touch with your patients by allowing patients to request an appointment instead of calling them or scheduling them via email. You're helping them take control of their oral health. So here is really, we're going to talk a little bit about optimization and where this benefits your practice. So optimization, education, reputation, and timing. So when we talk about optimization at Intivio, we're talking about streamlining everything your office does, from scheduling that initial appointment to reminding a patient about what is expected and what was required of them, whether it's pre-op, post-op instructions, consent forms. All those things build up to a successful appointment. We don't view no-shows and late cancellations any differently than we do an unprepared appointment. They all cause dramatic havoc day of the appointment, where it's very, very difficult to fill in that time slot. And so part of optimization is doing everything right up beforehand, so we actually don't even have that empty chair before we know about it. We want to give patients tons of time and notification to let us know if there's going to be a disruption in their plan or if they've failed something like fasting. And so everything that you're doing is customized messaging by appointment type so that you're sending the right things so they can interact with you and really help optimize your workflows. Engaging your patients through education, either in the chair or through the reminders, keeps them engaged with your oral health, with the benefits of oral health. So we've seen time and time again that if you start embedding education within reminders, patients start to ask better and more informed questions, and those patients are more likely to do elective treatment as well as come back for more repeat treatment. So optimizing your communication workflows has so many knock-on effects that dramatically increase retention, and as well improve things such as referrals and brings in new patients all the time, just because patients are really impressed with how you communicate with them and they really get that high touch interaction. It's important to remember, it's one thing to remind patients to come to their appointment, but it's another to listen to those patients and incorporate what you're hearing into their communication. So optimizing chair time, it's same coin, two sides. So once again, it's that whole retention and engagement. And what we need to do is make sure that we're engaging with our patients on the front end. And that if a patient knows what is expected from them and they value the service that you provide, and they feel like they are in control of their oral health, they're more likely to actually show up to their appointment, which is the #1 reason for failure of appointments. There's a ton of other tools like last-minute notifications that you can use with an automated system that will help you fill in those like 24-hour gaps, and our system has those as well. But really where we like to focus on is making sure that patients so informed of that front end that that's not so much of a problem at the back end. So how does Entyvio help? So we have a few different case studies that we can share with you. One is Altoona Center for Oral Maxillofacial Surgery. They see approximately 1 hour a day in time savings, 75% increase in confirmations, and 90% decrease in cancellations, as well as a 95% increase in patient reviews. These aren't really surprising for us. This office came from a practice that didn't have a pre-existing system. And so they instantly saw a huge upshot in pretty much every metric that we tracked. And then you have someone like Central Valley Dental Implant in oral surgery, and they actually came from another practice management software, and they still saw an hour of time savings, 50% increase in confirmation rate, and a 70% increase in patients completing paperwork. And this primarily when we actually communicate with our patients and our clients, and we find out what is the big difference between us and other softwares, or really between doing it by yourself or using an automated system. It's about being able to send the right message to the right patient at the right time, really customizing your workflows so that every patient knows what's expected of them, so that it just saves so much time off your own schedule. It's been a real dramatic. And so if you're looking to implement these tools or these strategies, well, you should be seeing these results. And if you're not getting these results, things need to change. And so this is where we talk about holding your partners accountable. It's so important that if someone says they can do something, that they actually do it. And that we started this presentation with that same mindset. If you promise your patient something, you need to deliver it. And we do that through repetition of messaging, communicating specific messages, by providing education. And how we do that, or any company really should do that for their clients, is being held accountable. And so being able to make promises and then deliver on them. So choosing your partners wisely is an integral part of delivering your service. You're going to have expectations for us. And for example, if you partner with us and you're not seeing results like the ones we highlighted earlier in this webinar, you can hold us accountable because something's up. Accountability matters to us as much as it should matter to you. One of the ways we keep ourselves accountable at Entyvio is by really offering really long trials where you get an opportunity to see the results over 60 days. So as a dental practice, you have to do the research to find out how your dental partners can be held accountable. So we'd like to give you an opportunity to hold us accountable. So we're willing to give you a 60-day free trial. We're also offering the first 5 offices who take us up on that offer a $100 Amazon gift card. You can visit us at entyvio.com to learn more about patient communication software and how we can help you. We've got a really handy little calculator online where you can plunk in some of your own stats, and we'll spit out ways that we could save you time, but also ways that you could save yourself time. On our website, we've got email templates, text message templates that you can go on tonight, download, and save yourself time tomorrow. We're really in this to help you. So we're in it to provide a lot of information and support for dental practices, even if you don't use our service. So please take the time and check out what we have on our website. And now for the doc sites.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nate. Really, really appreciated that, and spot on. You know, the more personalization with messaging from not only like getting people in, but, you know, even like case acceptance and treatments, right? Like if they're considering like something like, you know, implants or dentures or something like that, and you can send messaging to them, hey, check out these before and afters or something like that, or something personalized. It really helps it all around. So it's more than beyond just getting, you know, patients back in the door. So I love that.
Yeah, for sure. You can do follow-up, anything you want to do in sequence. That's where we really specialize to make sure that patients feel engaged with the treatment that's being offered or promised.
Fantastic. So let me just share my screen for everyone here. Great. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, great. So how do you maximize your website and online presence in order to attract more high value patients? That's what we'll be talking about, you know, for the next 20 minutes. My name is Kayvon Ma. I'm a co-founder at DocSites. Everything I'm sharing with you today is based on what I've seen in 12 years work successfully with dental practices, from, you know, the single location to the multi-location to, you know, 10, 15 locations and everything in between. So again, everything I'm sharing with you is based on what I've seen work successfully for dentists and dental practices, and you're getting that hands-on. So this is really, really important. Before I get into this technical strategies and you know what to do and how to do it, this is probably the most important slide that you'll listen to and you'll get from my presentation. And it's this. One of the single biggest mistakes that I see dentists make over and over again that costs them, you know, when it comes to their practice marketing, and what you want to avoid at all costs is this. If you don't get this, then really nothing else matters. And that big mistake is having a set it and forget it mentality when it comes to your website, when it comes to your marketing, right? You can't treat your website and your online presence like insurance, where you pay it every month and you never look at it, or like you pay it once a year and you never look at it. Because if you don't take a look and actually assess, is it working for me? Is it personalized? You know, Kayvon mentioned these, you know, 6 things. Do we have these on the website? If you just say, you know what, I'm just busy and let it be, you're losing out on the opportunity to showcase how you're different and attract those types of patients who really want your service and what you're offering them. So now's the time to reassess it. You know, ask yourself, who made your website? Was it your front office manager's son who happens to make websites, you know, once in a blue moon, who you can't get a hold of? Or are you working with a company, you know, who's worked with hundreds of dental practices for many, many years? Do you even know what you're paying for, right? People say, I'm paying for SEO, or I'm paying for blogs. And you ask them, well, what are you getting, doctor? They don't have anything. It's okay not to know, but it's not okay to not want to find out what that is. Because again, if you don't know, if you don't do a diagnosis of actually what's going on, you can't really improve it. So that's probably one of the most important takeaways from today's webinar. So there's really 3 steps that it takes for you to get the most from your online presence and make the most of your marketing. Step 1 is show up. Step 2 is showcase how you're different. We're going to talk about personalization, real specific tips. And step 3 is be seen consistently, or marketing. Now, before we get into that, I actually have a special bonus, some tips to help you increase your first appointment conversions. Why is that important? Well, look, you could be spending thousands of dollars a month on your marketing, but if those are not turning into appointments, if those are not people coming into your chairs, that's wasted money. So let's dive right into it. Tip number one, make sure that your website has a new patients tab on it. Now, we've built hundreds of websites over the years, and we've seen from data that when you actually put a tab on your website that says new patients, guess where the eye of the new patient goes? Right there, right? So on that page, you can put everything to highlight your practice, whether it's new patient forms, whether you have a great video you want to showcase, maybe you have a special offer, maybe you have amazing reviews. Make sure you have that new patients page on your website. It'll help convert more people. Tip number two, have a phone follow-up system, right? It's not enough that you call people once. So whatever your system may be, whether you use a software, whether you use a third party, or you just have an amazing front desk who's on top of it, you want to make sure that you have a system in place that you're following up with these leads. Otherwise, you're leaking out money and you're losing opportunity to convert into first appointment bookings. Tip number three is you might want to consider booking appointments directly from your website. So if you have a software or a service that allows that, I know Intivio allows for returning patients to book, sometimes. So that can help reduce the resistance and just make it easier for people to book their own appointments online. So let's get into it. Step number one is for you to show up, right? Show up online. Do you even have a website for your practice, first of all, right? Your practice is like your first impression online, and you only get one chance at giving that first great, impression. So what kind of first impression are you giving to patients? Put yourself in their shoe. What do they want to see, right? And is your website reflecting that? Now, right here, you'll see on your screen, there's two website examples, one on the left, one on the right. I've asked probably hundreds of dentists and staff members at this time, tell me, what is your first impression of that practice? Compare the one on the left versus the one on the right. Just throw out words and let me know what you think. People will say when they compare the website on the left, I hear words like, it's modern, it looks family friendly, technology, clean, friendly, right? You get those kinds of words that people say that's the kind of impression. But the practice on the right, I ask the same question. People say it's dingy, outdated practice. It looks broken, dirty. Now, you and I both know a website has nothing to do with how great your clinical work is, how great your customer service is, any of that, how safe you are with COVID protocols, nothing. However, in the eyes of patients who don't know you, who have not experienced you, it matters a whole lot. We all judge and make first impressions, right? So what kind of first impression are you giving off with your website? And look, this goes beyond a website. If I come into your office and waiting room and it smells weird, I'm not going to feel comfortable. If I come into your waiting room and I see broken tile or dirty magazines, I'm not going to feel comfortable paying you good money to put an implant or veneers. It's the same thing. It's in our nature. So you got to realize that your website is giving an impression and you want to make sure that impression is a great one. The truth is you need to have something to pull in patients into your practice and not your competitors. Now, when was the last time that you actually Googled yourself? Because that's the first place a lot of patients will look into when they're looking for a dentist. And are you making the most of your Google My Business profile? Here's what you don't want to see when someone Googles you. This is an example of a Google My Business profile. Every single dentist who's practicing practically has one. Maybe a small percentage of you have actually ever Googled yourself to see what this is. So an incomplete profile has no website button. It's missing business information. It might be incorrect. If you were a dentist practicing at maybe a hospital or a DSO or a, Western Dental, there's a likelihood that now that you're in private practice, you never change this Google My Business profile. So when people Google your name, they're seeing the wrong business. And that business might have negative reviews. that have nothing to do with you. So you want to make sure that you claim this profile. You use keywords in there that have your name. You even add, now what Google is doing because of COVID, obviously, in the last year and a half, is if you have COVID information on your website, it actually pulls it in right there on the Google profile. So again, the more complete this profile is, the better first impression you have. So let's say you've shown up, right? You have a website and a presence. Now you really need to stand out. What makes your practice different, right? The theme that Nate and I are talking about today is what? Personalization. Personalize it, make it different. So let's get into some tips of how you could actually do that. Number one, highlight your great reviews. One of the biggest mistakes I see with all dentists is they might have 150, 200 plus, Google reviews, positive reviews. When I go to the website, I see 0 of those, right? Make sure that you're highlighting your great reviews. We're one of the few website companies that I know of where we actually will embed directly your Google reviews, your Yelp reviews, if that's popular in your area, to highlight them and make sure you stand out. A second way to do so is add personalized photos, right? You could see these photos of the staff just make a world of difference. So if you want to stand out and not have a cookie cutter website, there's a really simple solution, which is add personalized photos so people get an idea or a feeling of what they're walking into, who they're walking into. Number 3, add your biography and photo to the website. The most popular page on a website, other than the home page, is always the Meet the Doctor page. Why is that? Well, it makes sense. Who am I coming to see, right? Who am I trusting with my teeth? Who am I trusting with my family members? I want to know who you are. So make sure you have a nice photo, not an outdated photo from the 1980s, but a good one. Add your certifications. If you're part of associations, add your reviews. Really put your best foot forward. Number 4, add an office tour or a smile gallery. This is especially important if you're looking to get more of those aesthetic cases. Look, a lot of these young dentists coming out who are just doing very well in terms of taking your current patients, right? You've been practicing for 20 years. You probably can place implants and veneers way better than they are, but they're taking your patients. Why? Smile galleries. They're putting up really nice photos of their work, right? And people are saying that and they're drawn to it, right? We live in a visual culture, so make sure you're showcasing your work to stand out. And then number 5, showcase that you have COVID-19 protocols and updates. Depending on where you are in the country right now, some places are more loose, some places are more relaxed, but everyone cares about their safety and health. So make sure that you have a page on your website and people's attention is drawn to there so that they know you're following COVID-19 protocols and keeping them healthy and safe. So these are a few examples of websites at doc sites we personalize. Again, you could see they're very much visual. Photos say a lot. So you want to make sure that all these elements are combined to give you, a great first impression with your website. Now, you want to make sure you do not use imagery or words for dentists. You want to make sure you use imagery and words for patients. For example, a patient does not understand what cone beam technology is or what a laser dentist is. Most patients don't understand that. So you can see in this example, what we've done for Dr. Laura Greenwald is we've taken that treatment that she offers and put it in words that a patient would understand. Virtually pain-free dentistry, Solea laser. No shots anesthesia, faster treatment, great for kids. A mom gets that, got it, that's value, right? They don't understand laser dentistry. So you gotta make sure you use words and images people understand. Now, dentists, sometimes are notorious for putting bloody pictures up, right? You see this. Patients do not want to see that. You might see that and say, that's a great abutment. That's a great placement. The patient sees that and says, that's disgusting. Ew, click back. They want to see the end result. So make sure you show them the end result, the benefit, right? Not x-rays and you know, bloody things or anything like that. So you've shown up, you have your profile, your website, it's personalized, right? And all these tips and ways that I show you now, how do you get more visibility? How do you get people to really see your practice consistently so you can draw patients in? Well, before we get into the marketing, you got to realize like marketing, the goal of it is really like one thing, which is to build trust with people and help them, you know, make a connection with you. But that trust is key. Now, trust is built with consistency, right? If you think about, you know, if you go to a supermarket and you're thinking about buying laundry detergent, right? You see two brands, and one brand's a brand that you've known for 20 years. It's a Tide or something like that. Another one's a knockoff. Most people are more inclined to go with Tide, even though it's a little bit more expensive, because of the consistency. They know the brand. There's a reason why I have these Nike shoes on my feet. It's not because I got an ad or a postcard once. I've seen their message consistently for, you know, 20, 30 years or so. So the same thing applies with you building trust, right? I use this analogy and example. Car mechanic, right? I have a guy that I go to that I trust. I've been going for the last maybe 10, 12 years. His name is Sacco. If something's wrong with my car, I don't know what's going, you know, underneath the hood of my car. All I know is I trust Sacco. So if he says I need something, I'll go with it, right? Dentistry in many ways is the same. They don't know what's going on in their mouth. All they know is, do I trust this doctor or not? So again, one of the best ways to build trust is with consistency. So I'm saying this to make a point that your marketing has to be done consistently, and you've got to show up in front of the eyes of your patients consistently, right? So where is the best use of your marketing or digital marketing dollars? I've done this for 12 years, and people always want to know. The best place actually to spend your effort is to get your existing patients and get them back in. So if you've got a platform or a software like Intibio, that is the best place you can start to get them back in, right? Because those are more likely to close. They already know you. They already trust you. They're more likely to say yes to those high value cases. Now, after that, in terms of marketing, in the 12 years that I've done this, the single best return on marketing dollars that I've seen will always come from search engine optimization, or SEO. What SEO basically is helping you get found on Google, right? And this is really important because if you think of it, how does someone look for a dentist online? Most people will start with a friend or family and they'll ask a referral, right? If they don't find, you know, or someone doesn't get back to them, they're going to go on Google on their search. That's why it's really important to have a service like SEO or search engine optimization to help you get found when people are looking for treatments and services in your area. Essentially, it's a service, a type of marketing that's done to your website to help you get found for your different treatments and services when people are searching for you locally. Now, this has been a really great opportunity, right, for dentists, not only, you know, during COVID, but even before times, but specifically some new opportunities have emerged in the last year and a half. So we've seen a spike of people searching for emergency dentistry because their practices were not open, right? So a couple of our clients have successfully created a second website just focused on emergency dentistry. And we focus on the SEO efforts there, and they're getting more found easily and they're getting more calls. Now they're using that because a lot of times people come in, they need emergency extractions, root canals, wisdom teeth, right? And then again, it goes back to building trust. Then they convert them into a patient, and then they can, you know, if treatments are needed for bigger cases, that will happen. You can do that as well and focus some of your SEO efforts on things like emergency dentistry, or maybe there's a specific type of treatment that you offer. Now, a key important element of getting found on Google and SEO is doing monthly SEO blogging, right? That's adding blogs and content to your website. This is one of the biggest mistakes, actually the biggest mistakes I see when dentists are paying for SEO and they don't know. So just avoid this. Most companies, when they blog for you, are not blogging on what patients are searching for. The only reason why a company should blog really on your website is to help you get found for your treatments and services. So if you look at the example on the left, this is an example of a blog we've done. This is something that a patient might actually search. Dental crowns treatments near me, or in the city of Calabasas. That's what you want. What you don't want is a company that's blogging for you things like how swimming affects your oral health, how coconut oil makes your teeth shiny. That's great, but I guarantee you there's no mom, dad, husband, wife. No one is looking for a dentist and saying, I wonder how swimming affects my oral health, right? They're searching for things like Invisalign for adults near me, family dentist, and putting in my zip code 91356. That's what you want to make sure your SEO dollars are being put forth. And that's one of our key differentiators here at DocSites, to make sure that you're getting that type of monthly SEO blogging, not generic things that don't really result in anything. Targeted marketing is also an option. So Google ads or Facebook ads are an opportunity for you to get very specific and focus on it. So if you have some kind of offer for implants, that could be great. If you have some kind of offer for maybe Invisalign, if Invisalign is profitable for you, some people offer financing, some people offer $99 a month, something to entice people. Google ads can possibly work for you. SEO is going to give you the best type of quality leads. Then it's going to come Google ads. Then it comes Facebook ads. Now, Facebook is really used mostly as social proof for a lot of people. And again, if you actually talk to dentists, they don't have the best quality leads coming from Facebook. So you'll tend to see people who are there to like bargain shop, and not make it to appointments and things of that sort, versus like the ones who come from SEO or Google. They're more likely to show up because they're looking for your services or treatment. So just be aware of that and know that you can stand out and use your Facebook page as social proof, meaning showcase your work. This is an example of one of our clients. Showcase your testimonials. Put your best foot forward, right? And make sure that you have a great presence on your Facebook. Again, this goes back to what I was sharing with you just now. You can use Facebook for targeted ads, very specifically with a special offer. However, just know that the quality of the ads are going to be much less than if you were to do something like SEO or Google ads, because those ads have higher intent. Someone is searching, I need implants, I need this, I need teeth whitening. On Facebook, you're just hitting them with an offer and hoping they come in.